77 WABC invites you to a family fun day and softball showdown on July 20th with net proceeds benefiting Shriners Children's. John Sterling will call the game as the FDNY takes on the NYPD with special guests Dwight Gooden, Art Shamsky, 77 WABC hosts including Sid Rosenberg, Anthony Cumia, Lionel, Dominic Carter, and many more. For more info and to buy tickets, go to ShrinersChildren'sChampions.org. That's ShrinersChildren'sChampions.org.
The James Golden Show. Entertaining and informative. On the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Who did we gain our independence from?
What? George Washington?
What year did we gain our independence from Great Britain?
In 1492.
What was the name of the war that won us our independence?
The Civil War? World War II. One. I don't know. I didn't pay attention in history.
Who won the Revolutionary War?
South.
Who was the first president of the United States? How many letter A's are in the word independence?
Oh my gosh, I don't even know how to spell that. So I'm going to say 3.
A-E-N-D-A-N-C.
Oh, you're the English teacher. I'm so embarrassed.
What do Americans celebrate on the 4th of July?
Good question. For some, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Saturday Morning Vibe, the day after, of course, Independence Day celebrations all across America. If you would like to be on the program today, we will be taking calls. 800-848-9222 is how you reach us. Give us a few minutes before you call in. We're still putting together some things here, and Kelvin is busy and all that stuff, so we'll give the number out in a little bit, but just give it a minute. But we will be taking calls at 800-848-9222. Expecting to hear from Princess Diana out in the provinces of her realm today. We're expecting to hear from our dear Lizzie Radabali. And, of course, America's small caffeinated mom, Rhonda Schrock, and your calls. There's Kelvin. That doesn't mean you can start calling yet. It's going to take him a quick second to get adjusted. He's been busy putting together all the audio stuff that we have for our presentation this morning. So, indeed, and I hope you had a great, or having a great holiday weekend. There is tragedy, of course, going on in Texas. We will talk about that. A flash flood there is it's horrific. It is terrible what's happening in Texas. Yeah, I'll get to that in a moment. On a lighter note, to start today's program, I must quiz members of the staff. I doubt whether any of you will have the answer to this question, and I wouldn't expect you to. All right. Have you ever heard of a French designer named Louis Réard? Réard. How about you, Kelvin? Ever hear of this guy? French designer named Louis Réard?
No.
Okay, he is famous because of something that he introduced to the world on this day in 1946. Now, put all the factors together. A designer. Something introduced to the world, right? Summertime, 1946. What could it possibly be?
Can I ask a question?
Yes.
Did somebody make a movie about it like 2 summers ago, and it was a big, huge deal, like in the box office?
I'm not sure because I don't follow the movies. You stumped me. I don't know. What are you thinking about that was in the movies?
How to put it difficult? I'm thinking about the atomic bomb.
No. That was Oppenheimer. And we said 1946. Okay. Oppenheimer. You're talking about, yes. That was a, no. However, let me just say this. You have stumbled into something, though. In a strange way, it's related. Interesting, Carlos. I will tell you. On July 5th, 1946, French designer Louis Vuitton unveiled a daring two-piece swimsuit at a popular swimming pool in Paris. Parisian showgirl Micheline Bernardini modeled the new fashion, which was dubbed the bikini. Inspired by a news-making U.S. atomic test that took place off the Bikini Atoll in the Pacific Ocean earlier that week. So see, Carlos, you kind of went there with it. The bikini got its name from the A-bomb tests that were held at the Bikini Atoll in the Pacific Island. European women first started wearing the two-piece bathing suits that consisted of a halter top and shorts in the 1930s, but it wasn't, but only a sliver of the midriff was revealed. The navel was vigilantly covered. In the United States, the modest two-piece made its appearance during World War II, but 1946, it went all there. The bikini. Now, at first, he couldn't find a model that was, because it was considered so risque. But that all went away. And by the 1960s, the early 1960s, in prudish America, this is from History.com, in prudish America, the bikini was successfully resisted until the early 1960s, when a new emphasis on youthful liberation brought the swimsuit en masse to U.S. beaches. Helped along, of course, by a song, Itsy Bitsy Teeny Weeny Yellow Polka Dot Bikini in 1960. And the rest, as they say, is history. And these days, that was even before the thong. So, that's back when, yes, women used to cover things that they, in some cases, no longer cover at all if you're on the beaches of the world. Incidents have been going on over the 4th of July weekend out in Los Angeles. Another scene where there were arrests made with their... people are demanding an end to the occupation of Los Angeles, which is bizarre. It's as if they believe they're in their own separate country and the United States is an occupying power instead of being part of the United States of America. The situation requires more ice to cool things out. And I certainly hope that more ice will be on the way to southern Los Angeles, to Southern California, and to other parts. That, of course, should be forthcoming with the big, beautiful bill, which has been passed. I spoke earlier of the tragedy that is unfolding in Texas, and it is terrible, folks. This is a horrific, very touching story. Search and rescue teams worked throughout the night, central Texas. They had a flash flood along the Guadalupe River, and that flash flood has now killed at least 24 people. There are as many as 25 girls that were attending a summer camp, a Christian summer camp, and those girls are missing. And I don't know whether there's anything hopeful or not. The search and rescue teams are still working out there. An unknown number of other people are also missing, according to officials near Hunt in Kerr County. And it's just horrific. And if you've seen any of the pictures of it, there were forecasts of little storm activity. Nobody expected the torrential downpour that happened. And when you see the videos of what is happening down there with this horrific flood that took place, it is heart-wrenching. And so, of course, prayers up that there will be survivors It is a desperate situation there. The events over the week have been incredible. If you want to weigh in on that today, please feel free. There is a sense that the 2026 election, midterm election, is now in play because of the passage of the big, beautiful bill. Democrats are said to be weaponizing as we speak. And you can just hear the fear in many Americans. Democrats have been waging a nonstop, relentless fear-mongering attack based on misinformation, based on things that are not true. And the evidence of that is in from what is happening, of course, the reflection of what happens in this country now we can find on social media. Almost instantly, people are reacting to what they believe transpired, even though in many cases it has not. And they are filled with fear. They're filled with fear that their benefits are going to be taken away. This is, of course, none of this is being explained in a way. And I think the Wall Street Journal, I believe it's the Wall Street Journal, has an op-ed today that makes note that Republicans are not doing a great job defending this piece of legislation that has passed against these attacks. And the attacks are just, they are horrific that are coming in. People believe that that they are going to be subjected to having their health care benefits stripped from them. The very notion that there are cuts has not been dispelled, even though Kimberly Strassel of the Wall Street Journal wrote an op-ed the other day pointing out that there are no real cuts here. What we're talking about are reductions in the rate of growth. These programs are not going to grow to the levels that they were scheduled to grow, and that's what's being considered cuts. So there's a lot of work to do. 800-848-9222 is how you reach us. 800-848-9222. Oh, isn't it? You got it.
I was like, what's the chances it's in the system? And it was.
The birthday of the bikini. Here on the Saturday Morning Vibe.
The James Golden Show on the Red Apple Podcast Network. The James Golden Show, entertaining and informative on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
In 2003, on this day, Johnny Cash made his last ever live performance, appearing at the Carter Ranch. Before singing this song, Ring of Fire, Johnny Cash read a statement about his late wife that he had written shortly before taking the stage. He said, "The spirit of June Carter overshadows me tonight with the love she had for me and the love I have for her. We connect somewhere between here and heaven." She came down for a short visit, I guess, from heaven to visit with me tonight to give me courage and inspiration like she always has. She had died on... And then Cash passed away September 12th. A few months after that last performance. Johnny Cash, giant in American music. James Golden, Snerdley. Saturday Morning Vibe, 800-848-9222 is the number to reach us. Well... Let's just dive right in, folks, and we'll deal with some of this stuff. James Carville was on CNN, and I think this one's clean because usually we have to work overtime with the expletive button. But cut 3, this is what James Carville is predicting on, on the passage of the big, beautiful bill.
You know, political anthropologists are going to look back at this, and it's going to be called a mass extinction event, because there are a lot of them going to be extinct when people go to the polls voting for this. I promise you, this thing is really, it's like 25, 26 points underwater already. And we hadn't even started our education program.
Now, he's not lying about one thing. And I pointed this out on this very show weeks and weeks ago. The BBB was not polling well, especially when it came to the issue of Medicaid, because Democrats got out early. They're going to cut your benefits. Trump kept saying, we're not cutting any benefits. They're going to cut. The rate of growth has been cut. The actual program, as it rolls out, we will be spending more money in the years ahead than we are spending on it now. That is not a cut the way that people understand budget cuts. When you say I'm cutting something out of my budget, you actually stop spending as much money as you were spending before. I cut the spending. Yes.
So why are they talking about 17 million people losing their Medicaid?
Because people that were not supposed to be on the program the way the program was designed. The program was designed to help poor people and people with, who had children and they couldn't afford the medical care. And by the way, there's another program for that too called SHIPS, SHIPS, but that is supposed to help children. We have redundant programs all over the place when it comes to government spending. So, why are people off? Because Democrats in Democrat states, Medicare is run by both the federal government and the states. For every dollar the state spends, the federal government matches funds. And the states administer programs in the states under the Medicaid umbrella. You're following me on this? It gets kind of dicey. So it runs on the state level, but the feds also put in money to it, administered by the state. So you had states like California that decided that under their version of Medicaid, which is called Medi-Cal, they're going to just open it up and give it to every illegal alien under the sun. You have other states that expanded the program well beyond what it was intended to. So you have working age men sitting on their behinds doing nothing, collecting health care benefits. And what the Republicans did was say, okay,
free health care benefits? Free health care benefits?
Yeah, free. So what Republicans are saying is no. The program was never designed from this. If you are eligible to work. And then you contribute to your own health care benefits. You'll get them from your employer. You'll be able to pay for health care benefits. That's part of what's going on. And they're also saying, if you're here illegally, no, you're not supposed to be on it. So that's the issue. Stay right here, folks. That was a great question, Carlos. Great question.
The James Golden Show on the Red Apple Podcast Network. The James Golden Show. Entertaining and informative on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
We don't want to hear when you lose your Medicaid. We don't want to hear when you lose your SNAP. We don't want to hear from those states when FEMA doesn't show up for your tornadoes, hurricanes, and floods this year. We don't want to hear when you figure out that those tax breaks are not for you, but they're for the rich. We don't want to hear when you figure out that no tax on tips and overtime ain't even real. We don't want to hear when you figure out that he is increasing the debt ceiling by trillions of dollars, which is going to cost us a lot, because we try to tell you. So you're excited about this bill passing? Just remember, when all that happens to you, to not open your mouth.
I hope people in other countries tell our story here in America, because I know a lot of people like to laugh at us. But we've had little choice in all this, no matter how hard we've tried.
Good grief.
This is a sinking ship, and I'm going down with it. I refuse to leave this country. This country is my home. But I can't afford to leave. I'm so sorry to everyone here who has to suffer. I should be on Medicaid, but I know that's not gonna happen now. How could people laugh and cheer and celebrate the 4th while all this is happening? A revolution needs to happen now. We can't afford to wait.
The revolution is happening, honey. All of this nonsense that has been passing for good governance, endless entitlements, endless spending, endless illegality is coming to an end. On this day in the year 2000, Cub Koda passed away. Michael Cub Koda. He was the founding member of the Brownsville Station. 1974, this one, 2 million sold. Took his name Cubby from the Mickey Mouse Club. These days, the boys are in the girls' room. Well, that's coming to an end, too, part of the revolution. James Golden and Snerdley with you here, 800-848-9222 is how you reach us. So you heard some of the voices there. Look, I'm not laughing at these people. I think it's pretty pathetic, number one, that we've reached an age where a bill passes in Congress and you have people like this woman crying because she thinks her life is doomed because the government's going to be spending more money on public assistance than it has been spending, but she's convinced because of Democrats that we are depriving legitimate American citizens from taking part in. Look at cut 20, Carlos. We played this one yesterday. I'm going to play it again. This is what Democrat fear-mongering is causing across the country.
I'm in shock, and I haven't been able to get on here. The last few days have been torturous. I've been doing everything, calling, emailing, everything I can. Today, my rare disease community are going to die. Lots and lots of my friends are going to die because of Medicaid. Once they start cutting Medicare, I'm going to die. And I don't know what to do, and I can't do anything. And then on top of it, sexual he got off. What's the point? What's the point anymore? I'm gonna die. I'm gonna die in my rare disease community, and I've done everything in my power. I've written, I've emailed, I've done everything forever, and there's nothing we can do. This is insane. We're gonna die. My rare disease family is going to die. I'm gonna die. The GOP, Trump, you who voted for Trump. I hate you Nazi bitches. I hope you die with me. Because if I'm going down, you guys are going down too. Trust me. I don't die alone.
Yes, folks, this is what's up. Cut 19. Let's just keep it right going. Cut 19.
It's over. It passed. And this is what that means for so many Americans. Billions of dollars cut from Medicaid, which affects millions of Americans. The poorest of the poor people in this country are going to lose their health care, be unable to feed themselves, and this is what people wanted. And the richest people in this country will get a tax cut. So if you're not upset, then I'm confused. If this is what you want, I think you need to take a much deeper look at who you are and what you stand for. Because this is devastating to so many people in this country. You were often one step away from needing assistance. One step.
Now, you know what, folks? I love some of these videos of guys and women in their cars. The car, I don't know why. I guess that's the closest thing they can get to a soundproof area where it's just them and you can hear them clearly. Or there's some other phenomena at work that I don't understand with these videos in the car. But here's a young guy, young African-American guy in his car that's been listening to all this stuff, these horror stories. And he has his own explanation, cut 21, Carlos, about what's going on with these Medicaid cuts.
Donald Trump's one big beautiful bill is making Medicaid great again. But millions are losing their health insurance. 1.4 million of those people are undocumented immigrants. Why are they getting Medicaid in the first place? First off, Medicaid isn't just for everybody to have free health insurance. What the is this, Canada? Medicaid is a state and federal program that provides health insurance for Americans in need. Pregnant women, children, people with disabilities, adults with low income, parents with low income. Medicaid is never the goal. It's something to help you out when you need it. You're not supposed to need it forever. That goes for all government assistance, not just Medicaid. Now that we know what Medicaid is, the one big beautiful bill requires people that want it to work 80 hours for it. You want to get some free then put some hours in. Also, because of Donald Trump's bill, if you have $1 million home, you can't be on Medicaid anymore. And why would you be? We know that Medicaid's for the needy. Do you think people with $1 million homes should be eligible for Medicaid? That doesn't make sense to me. Donald Trump doesn't want us Americans sitting on our ass collecting a check from the government. He wants you to go out and get it. Be great. I agree. Go chase after the American dream. Stop sitting bitching about government assistance. Go assist yourself. Keep it up, Donald Trump. Ow. There is so much to unpack with this bill, but y'all see the sweat starting to build up, so you know what that means. Let me know if y'all want a part 3 in the comments.
And boom, there you go. Now, he made a few things. I saw you looking at your when they talked about the work requirement. What the work requirement, again, Carlos, is if a guy like you, let's say you decided you didn't want to work. Just didn't want to. I don't have to work. I'll just apply here and get on Medicaid, let them take care of my health bennies. I'll apply, get some food stamps, live on a minimum budget, whatever, and I don't really have to work. I can just live off of other people, live off the taxpayer, live on the public dole. The work requirement in Medicare, that was just passed says, no, you can do that, but we're not going to pay for you to do it. If you don't want to work, on you. You figure it out. You figure out how to stitch your life together without working. But you will not be living off the taxpayers of America who do work. That's all it's saying. If you are able-bodied, if you are physically able to hold down a job, we're not going to pay for you to sit on your butt and collect off the taxpayers. That's all it says. They're not saying, by the way, if you're disabled and you cannot work. By the way, there are a lot of quote-unquote disabled people. I saw a video the other day of a guy who had a dual amputation of his legs. He's in a wheelchair. This guy was working, believe it or not, had figured out how to use his wheelchair so that he could still haul pallets and other things using hand trucks. And he's out doing physical labor that even people that are able-bodied 100% would whine about doing because the work it's too hard, it's too demanding. People that are resourceful find a way. And that's not to say that they have an easy time of it. So that's part of what's going on. Now, you raised some excellent questions. Do you have any other questions about stuff that's in this big, beautiful bill? No, we're good. Now, there are a lot of things that we are just finding out that are in the bill because they weren't highlighted. And one of the things that I'm looking for, help me out here, guys, because we got so much here. There was a woman that was explaining the Pell Grants and what the provision is for the Pell. Here it is, 15, cut 15. And I had no idea that this was even in the big, beautiful bill.
I just found something in the one big, beautiful bill that I'm so excited about for Illinoisans. There is now a program called Workforce Pell. As a person who worked for the state's financial aid agency and worked in community colleges helping kids to gain access to financial aid funding to go to pursue trade school and to get shorter term degrees, I'm stoked. So what is Workforce Pell? Let's get into it. It almost got removed because the Senate parliamentarian said it violated the Byrd rule. So then they had to put it in a provision to exclude unaccredited programs and for-profit institutions, which are, so now it got back in, and I am so excited. So what is Workforce Pell? Workforce Pell is new. It's been a discussion for a while, but it was very hard to get through under different leaders. But with Workforce Pell, it specifically caters to trade schools and people who are going for shorter term degrees. Traditional Pell Grants, you have to be enrolled in like 600 hours to be eligible for a Pell Grant. But with the Workforce Pell, it's designed for shorter term degrees or shorter term training, so like 8 to 15 weeks. This means that people who want to go to school to get tech, different types of tech degrees, or to go to 2-year, schools to just pursue different careers that go directly into a trade, they now have a way to leverage Pell Grant. This is a win. This is a major win for our workforce. It's a major win for our young people. It is such a big win for people who need a career shift. Like, this is such a big deal. And I'm so upset that I don't see more people talking about this because it's such a major shift, expanding Pell Grant this way, because it expands beyond just traditional 4-year education, which really allows for America to get back to work. Trump, they said we were going to FAFO, and they're right. We are FAFO, and because you are doing exactly what we wanted you to do, and having this provision in one big beautiful bill is such a big win for like the long-term trajectory of America. I'm just, thank you.
Yeah, again, it doesn't matter. She's African American, just by the way. But what is she saying here? Training, Pell Grants, now not just for 4-year colleges, 2-year. If you need to shift your career and you are in the trades and you need training, now you can apply for a Pell Grant, get the training that you need, and get right to work. You don't have to spend 2 years going to school in order to get a... And by the way, this is not just for, women's studies I hate America courses in your local college. This is actually stuff, and you can train for things that actually have direct impact on your life, under your control. Learn how to do something that you want to do. And you may only need 15 weeks worth of training before you can get out, get a job, and make it happen for yourself. Had no idea that was even in the big, beautiful bill. And there are a lot of things like that that we're going to be learning over the course of the next few weeks and months. This is why we cannot allow the Democrat Party and their endless fear-mongering and doom and gloom, and everything is miserable and you're going to die because the Republicans are evil, propaganda to become the defining word on what just happened. Carlos?
I'm listening.
So am I.
Big day tomorrow. The artist known as Drake equaled Michael Jackson's 1983 U.S. chart records when he had in #1 albums with Views, and this is One Dance from this song that remained unbeaten on the Billboard charts respectively. Oh my God. In the UK, One Dance scored its 12th week atop the UK charts, overtaking the Rihanna song Umbrella, which was Millennium's previous longest running #1.
So it's Drake. I know how much you love Drake. He's all right.
Drake is okay.
But you don't like him as much as you like that other guy, that Chris, what's his name?
Kendrick Lamar. What? Chris Brown, you mean?
Rihanna's ex-boyfriend.
Oh, okay.
What's his name?
Chris Brown.
Yeah. You like this guy more than you like Chris Brown.
He has better songs, Drake, than Chris does.
Well, I see. Yeah, a little music, critical music analysis there from Carlos, ladies and gentlemen. James Golden, Snerdley with you this Saturday morning vibe. 800-848-9222. Coming back. Don't go away.
The James Golden Show on the Red Apple Podcast Network. The James Golden Show. Entertaining and informative on the Red Apple Podcast Network. James Golden, a.k.a. Bo Snerdley, presents Rapid Phones.
Let's head out to the left coast of America. Check in California with Ronnie. Good morning, Ronnie. How are you?
Hey, Bo. How are you?
Well, thank you. Good to hear from you. What's up your mind? What's on your mind this morning?
I'm amazed that Republicans don't point out all the failures of Obamacare. Wasn't that supposed to guarantee free health care for those who didn't have insurance?
Yeah. Well, yes, and we're not supposed to have any uninsured. Not only that, the curve of healthcare costs was supposed to get lowered. So everything that they've said was a lie. Now, this thing with Medicaid, what they have tried to do is not only expand Obamacare, but also expand Medicaid so that they can have de facto universal government coverage, which is what they want. That's their ultimate goal, as you know. But it's a disaster. What they have done to the healthcare system is an absolute disaster, Ronnie. Are you having a good weekend, a good fourth weekend?
I am. It was also a birthday, so yeah, definitely.
Happy birthday. And you know what? And look, those folks in SoCal are still rioting, trying to put together their little riot protest. I hope you're staying safe out there.
Oh, definitely. I don't get involved in that nonsense. So, yeah.
Wonderful. Well, have a great birthday weekend and a great 4th weekend. And thank you for calling. Kathleen in Yonkers, New York. You are up next.
Hey, Bo, happy birthday, America. I just wanted to say that I always thought that when you worked, you got benefits. And that was used, the word benefits was used because that was the benefit of working. Because everybody was getting minimum wage or whatever. So instead of getting more money, you got the benefit of getting health insurance. Your employer paid for it. The word somehow or other turned into meaning free health care for everybody, which health care and insurance and benefits are 3 different words.
You know, you have an interesting point there, very interesting point. And by the way, the idea that employers gave health care benefits wasn't always the case. That those benefits were to attract employees because of a tight job market. And they're going to be even more needed as the job market continues to grow. So it is a wonderful thing that you're pointing out here. And it should not be confused with insurance, which, by the way, is the responsibility. Either you get it through your job or you pay for it yourself. But the last thing that should be happening, especially for people that don't even belong legally in the country, is that American citizens should be paying for the health benefits / insurance of people that are not in the country legally. Would you agree with that?
I do. My father had his own business and raised a family of 5 children, and he paid his own insurance. Like if somebody got hurt, we had to go to the hospital or go to the doctor. We had insurance, but who knows? I was a kid, but it's not like the way it is now where people think they automatically get it for free. He paid every month.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for the call. We got a boogie. Hour number uno in the can. Our number duo coming up. Lizzie's going to be here. Keep it right here. Don't go away.
The James Golden Show on the Red Apple Podcast Network. The James Golden Show. Entertaining and informative on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Welcome, my friends. Our number duo. The Saturday Morning Vibe is here. So glad that our Lizzie is back. She is, of course, the one, the only Lizzie Radabali, the advocate of her generation, the advocate for poor, oppressed workers all over the country, and the voice of the young, the restless generation, whatever. What generation are you in again, Lizzie?
I'm technically a Gen Zer. I'm a Gen Zer. I'm on the cusp, but I technically qualify as Gen Z.
She's the cusp, ladies and gentlemen, of Gen Z. And she is. She was at you were at a wedding last week, right,
yes,
Lizzie?
I was over in Cape Cod. I was in Cape Cod. It was beautiful.
Oh, you were hanging out with the big wigs.
It's beautiful up there. It was my first time in the area, and I need to go back.
Really? Yeah. Did anything exciting happen to you during the wedding and all that good stuff?
I myself, I walked away. I'm an engaged woman now. I myself am engaged. Yes, that is the truth. Yeah, I'm now engaged. So, yeah, sorry to anybody, sending me love letters, but I am now accounted for.
Lizzie, you're engaged.
I am engaged. Yes, correct.
Tell us, how did it happen, Lizzie?
It happened right on the beach.
Did he get on his bending knees and BVDs the way that...
Actually, my girlfriend actually did not, she was
too
nervous.
Wait a minute, a girlfriend?
Yes,
wait a minute. Wait a minute, you're engaged. Are you engaged to a girl?
Yes, I am. I am engaged to a woman.
Wow. What happened? Tell us.
It was on the beach. It was a beautiful, beautiful event. It was just a gorgeous day. I got to celebrate then with my friends the whole weekend. Yeah, it was gorgeous. I'm looking at my ring right now, and every time I look down at my hand, I'm like, whoa! It's awesome. I feel I'm over the moon happy. And yeah, sorry. Like I said, sorry to all my suitors out there. I apologize. I know they were lining up, waiting very patiently, but sorry.
Now you're taken.
I am taken. Yes.
It was a good deal, Lizzie. Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Do you have plans for the upcoming nuptials?
Yes. Well, we're just happened, so it's all sorting out.
Yeah, all sorting out.
Weddings take a lot to plan, so we didn't get it all done this past weekend, but we're starting. We're formulating and things like that.
Well, congratulations to you.
Thank you
Lizzie.
so much. Thank you, Bo. I appreciate it.
Now, did you fly home?
No, I did not fly home. Thank God. I was just driving. We drove home.
Because things are getting weird on the planes up there still.
Yes, things are getting weird. And people are just paranoid in general.
Well, yes, that too. How about what's this deal with this flight that was forced to divert over a text message?
Yeah, so this happened actually. It was a flight that was leaving San Juan, Puerto Rico, and it was heading to Dallas, Texas. Now, a passenger on the flight was snooping on their neighbor's phone, and they, I gotta say, as much as I want to, bash the person who was looking at this other person's phone, I do this all the time on the city subways. I'm constantly looking. One time, I was watching this guy watch a show on his phone, and I tapped his shoulder before I left and said, "What show is that?" And he told me what show it was, because I was just as invested as him looking over his shoulder watching this show. I literally asked him, I said, "What is that?" And he told me. He was like, "Wow, what are you doing watching my phone?" He told me. So, people have mixed views on the phone snooping, but I'm pretty lax with the phone snooping. But this person who was phone snooping in this scenario, in this flight, this is that paranoid person I was talking about. They saw that their neighbor texted someone saying RIP, and then they alerted the flight attendant saying, "This is a threat to the entire flight. This is a threat. They are going to blow up the plane," or something like that. And it was misinterpreted as a security risk. So they diverted the plane. They turned around, headed back to San Juan, and they were able to, get everybody off the plane, depart. They had law enforcement come in and inspect the area. It was fine. This person was just texting someone like RIP, probably like a joke, like, oh, like my bag just ripped in half, RIP, something like that. But everyone is so paranoid now. People shoot you up if you pull into their driveway, turning around in the street. If you're ding-dong ditching, they show up with guns. I mean, this is just a real bad problem that I think a lot of people need. Instead of, alerting the authorities right away, why don't you check in with yourself? Check in with your critical thinking skills and analyze, this person texting RIP to another person on this plane I'm on, do I think that they're actually going to blow up this plane that they're sitting on with me? Do I think that this is a threat? I think people need to start really reevaluating their fears and kind of check back in. And, do a temperature check. Is this realistic?
Minding your business. How about minding your business and letting other people just text on their phones what they're texting without you?
Yeah, and that too. I mean, yeah, why did this person have to snitch? Why this person had to snitch and say, get a flight attendant say, this is a security threat? I really have to wonder, what that person's case was to the flight attendants that actually convinced them.
I don't know, but I wonder also, after you get off the plane, after you do this, after they go through the guy, because they had to go through the phone and look at the message and everything else. So how do you then get back on the plane? Do you have to sit next to the snooper again? All the way? Oh. Anyway.
Yeah, I hope they rearrange the seating there, because, yeah, I mean, what if this person texts them like, "Oh my gosh, I'm fed up with all this now after that whole ordeal. Oh, that's another threat. Let's turn the plane right back around." This person is a dweeb, a snitch, and they need to really think about how they handle things like this.
Xbox has laid off some workers, apparently. I don't laugh at people losing their jobs. Microsoft laying off people, Xbox, and an Xbox producer has recommended that laid off workers should use AI. Why should laid off workers from Xbox use AI, Lizzie?
Well, so Matt Turnbull, he's an executive producer at the Xbox Game Studios Publishing.
Mm-hmm.
He says that AI can help people deal with the emotions and the turmoil that you face after losing a job. Now,
really?
This is real.
Really?
This is his real argument. And I have to say, pretty convenient. Xbox, owned by Microsoft, is pushing people to use a Microsoft-owned product, ChatGPT, to cope with their emotions after being fired by said Microsoft. I mean, it is just so incestuous. This is just like, when I read this headline, I knew right away. I knew ChatGPT had its stink all over this. So this guy, Matt Turnbull, posts on LinkedIn saying, man, these are really changing times. If you're navigating a layoff or even quietly preparing for one, which it's like, what? Like, how do I quietly prepare for a layoff? I'm being laid off. This is probably a shock to me. I'm not quietly preparing to be laid off. So anyway, then he goes into, tools like AI can help people. They could help, quote, reduce the emotional and cognitive load that comes with job loss. And you know what else can do that? Actual human connection does that way better than talking to a robot asking, can you act as a career coach? I've been laid off. Give me a 30-day plan to regroup. If I'm talking to a robot about how I lost my job, and also probably to said robot because they fired all these people to invest billions of dollars in AI, the mental energy argument that they're making here that, mental energy is so hard to come by. Everyone's so exhausted. Just let AI do all the thinking. Mental energy, just like physical energy, is actually fed through exercise. The brain is a muscle. Actually thinking will actually help burnout. I mean, people just trying to find shortcuts.
Lizzie, do you have an axe to grind against artificial intelligence?
Oh, the biggest hatchet in the barn. I want to go at it and just hack away with that. The general industry, the learning language models, I think, are especially the big issue here. And we're just, this is sad. When I read stories like this, I'm just like, man, that's sad. Like, talk to a robot because I got fired by the company who's paying these robots. I mean, this is just, I don't understand how they don't see that this lands bad. And
New York.
He did end up deleting the post, by the way, so he did realize that it wasn't really landing. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. The United States missile base swarmed by squirrels. That story was in Newsweek. What's up with that?
Oh, yeah. This is over in North Dakota. The Minot Air Force Base has been overrun with squirrels. They've actually been wreaking havoc. And, this is an issue because squirrels, of course, like they can cause different structural damage to the bases there. But they can also, of course, they carry diseases. I mean, squirrels, they could have rabies. They can carry other infectious diseases. And people live on these bases. There's families that live on these bases. And apparently this has been an issue since, there was writing about it in the late 2000s, and then even in the 90s this was talked about. So this has been a persistent issue, especially because in North Dakota, where this Air Force base is located, there's not really any predators. It's pretty barren, so all the squirrels can just reproduce at insane levels. So they're trying to do a new approach now because they're getting into this nuclear base, and they can't spray any toxic poisons around the base because that's against federal law, and it could, of course, hurt the children of the people who live on that base. So they're doing a bunch of different efforts to try to stop these squirrels. They're going to trap them. They're going to look at the spring and fall time to figure out how to decrease the population. And also just, they're going to look into a more comprehensive trapping plan. I don't know what that really means, but I don't know. These squirrels, they just spent $850 million upgrading the base, only for these squirrels to come in and just wreak havoc. Have you ever had any squirrels like inside? I've
had squirrel problems.
Yes, yeah. My family's home when I was younger had a squirrel issue, and man, it was just like never ending. The amount of
they're rodents. Rodents. I'm not saying we should be mean to squirrels, by the way, and I don't want anyone to misinterpret anything I say about the little rodents to think that I don't like squirrels. Rodents.
Yeah, no, but they're dangerous. They pose a danger.
Well, they're cute.
Yeah.
And dangerous. Lizzie, as always, thank you so much. And congratulations again on your upcoming nuptials. Glad you're back. We missed you. And as always, Lizzie, such a pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Bo. Thank you.
James Golden, Snerdley here. It is the Saturday Morning Vibe. 800-848-9222 is how you reach us. Later on in the program, Princess Di is going to join us. Later on in the program, America's small caffeinated mom, Rhonda Schrock, will join us as well. I'm digging this. This is of all the Beyonce songs, this is my favorite. No, I'm not kidding. The first time I heard this song, I wigged. I was like, oh, man, this is a great song. Anyway, Beyonce and Mr. and Mrs. Z started a 3-week run at number one over across the pond with this one back in 2003. Crazy in Love, of course. James Golden Snerdley with you. Saturday Morning Vibe. Don't go away.
The James Golden Show on the Red Apple Podcast Network. The James Golden Show. Entertaining and informative on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Trump is so dumb for pissing off LA because we don't have jobs. Like, none of us have jobs. We have like COVID level amounts of free time to protest, my dude. He's so dumb.
He's dumb. We don't have jobs. He's dumb. We don't have jobs. All we can do is go on the street and protest. And how's that working out for you? He's dumb. Oh, boy. American singer-songwriter and actor Huey Lewis, born on this day. Huey Lewis in the news, of course, born in 1950. Happy birthday, Huey Lewis. James Golden Snerdley. There is a lot that's still going on, speaking of that, with Alligator Alcatraz. Folks, I have played some of the conspiratorial. Listen to this one. This is what's going around. I saw a video before I came on the show that I didn't even bother doing it because it's some, Karen type ranting about Etsy. And, it's horrible. They're selling alligator Alcatraz gear on Etsy. And she's demanding that Etsy pull down all the merch sellers that are selling Alcatraz gear on Etsy, or else they're going to leave. We like Etsy. We're going to leave. Well, okay, go. Anyway, this is what's going on. Cut 30, Carlos. This is what is flying around out there in the social media world, part of it.
In case you don't know what's going on, a girl on TikTok came on here and said that one of her neighbors received a government contract asking them to install a bunch of incinerators at Alligator Alcatraz. They're installing incinerators at Alligator Alcatraz. Alligator Alcatraz is on indigenous land. It's like protected land. 2, there are migrants. There's people being washed ashore with shackles on. People are finding people on beaches wearing shackles. This is the level that we're at. There's another girl on TikTok who is tracking flights, government flights, or like leaving detention centers, and they are just going out into the ocean and then turning around. Just going out and turning around. The flights are not making it to their destinations. 2 + 2 does not equal 4. You understand what's going on right now. There's another guy on TikTok who said that he got pulled over by the cops. He's an American citizen. He just happened to have a Spanish last name. And they went and they looked through his information. They were like, we can't find you in any system. He's like, huh? He had like several IDs because he lived in a couple of different states. He was like, well, I have this ID. I have that motorcycle ID. I have this. And then the cops were like, oh, you can thank your friends that ISIS has. So they're taking people, American citizens. He's white, by the way. He just had a Spanish last name. They're taking people who have American nationals who have Spanish last names, removing them from databases so that when they get pulled over by cops and people like that, they go, oh, you're not in the system. You're an illegal immigrant. You're an illegal alien. So they can detain them. Do you understand what's going on right now?
Do you understand what's going on right now, folks? These people are losing their minds. Now, look, I have a lot of love and respect for the Countess of Conspiracy. These are not conspiracies, folks. This is just, this woman, this is just downright absurdity. It doesn't even come into, it is just I have another friend on TikTok, and she says that she's tracking the planes, and the planes are going out near the ocean, and she's tracking, and they don't even get to their destination. How does she know what their destinations are? But she's tracking, and they just start turning around, and people are washing up. People are washing up with shackles, and they're putting incinerators. They're putting incinerators and alligator Alcatraz incinerators. People use incinerators to burn the trash, for instance. We'll be back, folks. Whatever you do, don't go away. Saturday Morning Vibe continues.
The James Golden Show on the Red Apple Podcast Network. The James Golden Show, entertaining and informative on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Yes, my friends, protect your future. There's a very good way that you can protect your future. That way is to avoid the doom and the gloomers at all costs. Listen to this from 3 months ago. A United States Senator from Massachusetts on PMS DNC with Jen Psaki, a former presidential spokeswoman, right? You would assume both have credibility. Listen to this.
Comes in and basically starts the dumbest trade war in the history of this country. This is going to be about potentially millions of people losing their jobs. It's going to be about millions of people losing their savings, many of people losing their retirement security, and at the same time taking on even higher costs for everything they buy. So that's going to push us in potentially to foreclosures or people being pushed out of their apartments. You know, I remember this from 2008 and how long it took us to dig our way out. And to this day, there are families, there are communities that still haven't recovered. Recessions can be all those fancy charts and graphs, but at the end of the day, people feel them one person at a time, and they can be devastating.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, if you believed Senator Elizabeth Warren and the thoughtful from Jen Psaki, you would think that America, because of what was announced, would be in the tank. We're supposed to be in a recession right now. People are supposed to be millions of people losing their jobs. Instead, what do we have, ladies and gentlemen? We have gasoline prices at 4-year lows. We have jobs continuing to grow beyond the quote-unquote expectations of the experts, meaning the liberal experts who always predict the doom and gloom when there's a Republican in office. And instead, what is happening? Well, here's a guy that spent his entire life in the business life, in the world of finance. He's now the Treasury Secretary of the United States, and this is his assessment.
As I've said, there was always going to be a transition period from the Biden era of big government spending into the Trump era of efficient private sector Main Street growth, and we're seeing that here. So I would expect third, fourth quarter, we are going to see a substantial acceleration led by Main Street in wages, in business formation, in capital investment. Because this bill, Maria, what's important here is the permanence. We are not going to have to go back to the well and pass a so-called another tax cut. The tax bill is now the law of the land, and what is very powerful here, businesses now have a permanent avenue for full expensing of equipment that they purchase. So I would expect that we will see a business takeoff. Also, as President Trump's trade policies have brought back manufacturing for the next 5 years, if you build your factory in the U.S., you can do 100% deductibility of the structure. So this is the centerpiece of President Trump's three-legged stool for the economy: trade, taxes, and deregulation. So we are working on the trade deals. One big beautiful bill is the center of the tax deal, and we are constantly deregulating and unleashing American energy, American manufacturing, and letting the American people keep more of their money.
So there you have it, my friends. Protect your future. One of the ways that you can protect your future, don't invest. Don't invest in political gloom and doom, fear-mongering. That is not to say that everything you hear out of either party's mouth you should just take with any sort of, well, they're on my team, so I agree with them. No, do your research. If you legitimately have concerns about things that are real, you adjust accordingly. Your investment portfolio, your life, to the degree that you should. There are certain things, by the way, that I totally believe we should just ignore and not invest in it all. For instance, and okay, that's protect your future. Now I'm going to vamp to something. For instance, I've been reading these stories about this socialist that's due to maybe become the mayor of New York, this active communist. And the latest buzz is that, I saw a big story in the New York Post about him. Black people upset, angry. He called himself an African American when he applied for college, and also an Asian American. African American. And man, oh man. You mean they're mad? He's not black. The guy was born in Uganda. Kelvin, quick geography question. What continent is Uganda a nation of?
I had to take a wild guess. I would guess Africa.
Ooh. Carlos, where in the world? You're not Dora the Explorer, but you still, where is Uganda?
I mean, specifically, Uganda is on the left of Kenya and on the right of the Democratic Republic of Congo, close to Tanzania as well, yes. And Rwanda.
You're so smart.
No, I'm not.
Where
I
are you
got the map
reading
right
that
here.
from? Oh, you got it right there. You got the map. Okay, what continent is that on?
Oh, it's the great continent of Africa.
Okay, so if, Kelvin, TJ, if a guy is born in Uganda, what continent is he from?
Africa.
And then if he comes to America and he becomes a citizen of America, he would be a what? An African American. Kelvin, does that make sense to you? If a guy is born in Africa and he comes to America and gets American citizenship, what is he?
To me, it sounds like he's African American at that point. But is this an Elon Musk situation?
What do you mean? Is it an Elon Musk situation?
The same way, isn't he also African American?
Is he from Africa?
Yes.
Is he American?
Yes.
Well then. So, but so now my final question on this. What difference does it make to your life if he's an African American, an Asian American, or some other kind of American?
It doesn't mean anything.
It doesn't affect your life.
Personally, no. But his policies might.
Whoa, his policies might. And therein, my friends, is where we should be making the decisions. Not where he's from. What does he actually think? What is he doing? What is he saying he's going to do? Well, are you concerned about any of the policies that Mr. Mandami has said he wants to bring into New York? Any of them concern you?
I've been doing my research on it, and a couple of things are very, very concerning.
Like what? Like what? Like what?
Well, the state-owned grocery stores.
Oh,
that sounds a little to me. And
sounds what?
It sounds a little. If I'm not mistaken, isn't that a little communist?
Communist.
My question is, what happens if you late on your rent or something like that?
What happens if you're late on your rent?
They don't feed you now?
They don't feed you? Wait a minute. Wait a minute. So can the state use you're asking, can the state use these grocery stores to exact revenge on you if you don't behave the way that they want you to behave in anything? Basically. They won't feed you if you're relying on state grocery stores. That's an interesting premise. What happens to the regular grocery stores in all around the city when this guy comes in with state grocery with city-owned network of grocery stores that undercut everybody's price? They don't have to pay any overhead. He already said they're not going to pay taxes. They don't have to pay rent, the stores themselves, so they have no overhead. And, of course, they are going to be able to offer lower cost on everything because they don't have that overhead. So what happens to the people that actually do have to pay rent and have to pay overhead? What happens?
You talking to me?
Yeah, the regular grocery stores.
Yeah, the competition. They're gonna put out the competition, and they're gonna have to sell out. Those stores won't exist anymore because they won't be able to compete with the state.
And so the only thing that's left will be the government grocery stores.
That is correct.
And then after that, let's say this happens, and then do you think that what happens when the city needs more money because they're always going to be spending more money, and so then the other grocery stores are out of business because they've wiped them out? What do you think is going to happen with the prices in the city-run grocery stores at that point when the city needs more money?
They'll go up. They will go up, and then the taxes will go up, and then the minimum wage will go up, and then and everything will go up.
Yeah, well, yeah. I think you've got a handle on it, mates. That's just one of the things that people can look forward to. I tell you what we're going to do. Let's open up with some telephone calls. If you want to give us a buzz here, the Saturday Morning Vibe, 800-848-9222 is how you do it, 800-848-9222. Hope you're enjoying your 4th of July weekend. Ladies and gentlemen, James Golden, Snerdley with you here. Coming back, we're going to grab a few calls. We've got a few other things to share with you. Princess Di will be coming up in the next hour, as well as America's small caffeinated mama, Rhonda Schrock. Now, this voice, the one, the only, Louis Armstrong, jazz trumpeter, singer, band leader, ambassador for America, unofficial ambassador all around the world. one of the greatest names in American music. Passed away July 6th in 1971. Keep it right here. Don't go away.
The James Golden Show on the Red Apple Podcast Network. The James Golden Show, entertaining and informative on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Ladies and gentlemen, liberal women in America have truly lost their minds. They have truly lost their minds.
I'm free bleeding in the grass right now. And it's occurred to me that a large collective of women are bleeding right now. And whatever this cycle is, whatever we're moving through our blood together, feels like one of the most potent bleeds. And I sense more women are synced up now more than ever. So drop a rose if you're bleeding too. And a reminder that your blood is not an inconvenience. It's actually one of the most magical gifts in the entire world. Whatever you experience before your bleed, in luteal, when you feel like you're moving through different emotions, different challenges, gets to come out through your blood. You get to die every month and be reborn through your blood. And the earth takes it, if you give it to her, and alchemizes it. So the sooner that you can give your blood back to the earth, the more alive that you become.
On this day in 1946, Michael Monarch was born, guitarist with Steppenwolf, 1969. This went to number 2 on the charts. It is often described by aficionados of music as the first heavy metal song. 25 million records sold, 8 gold albums. Steppenwolf had 12 Billboard Hot 100 singles. The big breakthrough, this one. James Golden Snerdley, head to the telephones we go. Let's check in with Robert in Greenville, Tennessee. Robert, how are you?
Okay, how are you doing?
Good, thank you. What is on your mind, Robert?
Okay, I'm retired for years, for 21 years, but I had a stroke about 3 years ago, and I lost my vision. Mm-hmm. They say I'm legally blind, but it's really worse than that. But apparently there's no benefits at all for that.
What do you mean no benefits? What are you asking me?
For being blind.
I don't know. I'm sure there must be some sort of assistance. Robert, I'm not a healthcare expert in that I don't know what is in and out of every program, but if you have a medical condition like that and you're retired, surely there must be some help that's available for you. Either it is a disability, and of course Social Security deals with disabilities. So I would urge you to even just see, do you have a friend or a family member that can make some calls for you and just do a little research for you and explain your situation to the people at Social Security and so forth?
Yes.
Have them do that. And then also they will be able to explain other ways that you can be helped with your situation. There has to be help for it. That is a disability, a recognized disability, and of course there is going to be some help for it, Robert. So please, have someone look into that for you, okay?
Okay, thank you very much for your help.
Oh, thank you, Robert. God bless you and good luck to you. Thank you so much. Gracie, my Gracie, is in Rockland County. Haven't heard from you in ages. Gracie, how are you?
I'm wonderful. We listen every day. We wouldn't miss you.
But I
Thank
figure, how much could I call? Listen, number one, if you, in my opinion, from being involved in education, if you're born in Africa, or you put down I'm African American, even if you're white, if you're born in South Africa, because that's what you put on the applications to get, so they look at it. But with Zero Man, he is not black. He's African American, but he's not black. That's number one.
Yeah.
Right? There's nothing wrong with that. It's they do that. What are you going to do? You want to get into the college of your choice. But he's big trouble. That's the least of his problems, writing that down. Now, the next thing is I love Princess Di, and I love the historian. I still have my Limbaugh letters. He knew what was going on, Rush. He's looking down on us, and I wish he was still here to guide us. And I have to say one more thing. Last night I watched, 4th of July fireworks on the mall. If you looked at that, you think we were all red. I would say 95% of the people were decorated, wore red. The songs were great. They ended with the Beach Boys. We still have hope. I have to listen to you and the rest of WABC, because if not, you'd go crazy listening to those people. And that woman is a whack job with the blood. Come on, was that a skit on Saturday Night
No,
Live?
that was not a skit. There is a video. Look, I didn't even get into it. There's a video. She's doing this, as she calls it, free bleeding on the ground. It's on video. I tell you, liberal women have lost their minds.
Listen, give Princess Di my love, my love, my love. I think she's so smart. Bye. Thank you for taking my call, Bo, and I'm out here. I would never leave you. Bye.
Love you, Gracie. Thank you so much. Eddie in Staten Island. Oh, Eddie, I'm just looking at the clock. We are short on time here. Eddie, we're going to hang you in there. Don't go away. We have Princess Di coming up, ladies and gentlemen, as Gracie just said, and we will get into all kind of wonderful things with Princess Di. Liberal women have truly lost their minds. I'm not kidding, and I didn't play that for shock value, folks. They are out here. I play as many of these audio bites to give you an idea of what we in America are dealing with in terms of the mentality. It's real. It's out there. Our number duo in the can. Our number trio coming up next. Princess Di will be here. America's Small Caffeinated Mama on this rock will be here. Your calls will be here at 800-848-9222. The Saturday morning vibe continues. Glad you are here. And whatever you do, stay here. Do not go away.
The James Golden Show on the Red Apple Podcast Network. The James Golden Show, entertaining and informative on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Welcome, my friends. Our number trio is underway. Our number trio means one thing.
It's time for Radio Royalty with James Golden and America's Princess of Policy, Princess Di.
It means the Ness is in the house. Wherever that house may be, whatever province, whatever state, whatever locality she may be, Her Royal Highness is set to make an appearance here. And we welcome all goodness, all loveliness, all intellectualness. Her Highness Diana, Princess Di, in the house. How are you, Princess Di?
Oh, so happy to be here, Sir James Ness. How are you doing?
I'm doing, it's been an interesting week. I am still struggling with, these liberals are absolutely, they are losing it. I almost said a bad word, what they're losing. They're losing it.
Yes, they are. I'm sorry to laugh because they are genuinely miserable, but yes, they are going off the deep end, and you are, helping us to understand by playing all of those sound bites, so we understand what our fellow countrymen are going through.
This idea of concentration camps. You have I didn't even get to the ones that are saying that, and they're warning every Republican, if you voted for Donald Trump, this, that, and the other to you. They're also suggesting that every member of this administration, and these people are going to face Nuremberg trials. To which I actually responded to a post on that on one of the social media sites. Well, when you go to Nuremberg for the trial, be sure to take your passport because they don't look kindly on illegal immigrants coming into their country either.
Oh, my God.
Well, but seriously, now you've got this idea that this administration is dropping illegal immigrants into the sea. They've got incinerators at Alligator Alcatraz. They're calling for boycotts of people that are selling Alligator Alcatraz merch. And also, I didn't even play most of the ones that are openly calling for assassinations. It's getting worse. They're all over the place with this business now. I've never seen anything like these people are truly losing their minds. You've got people, you hear them crying, we're going to die because the bill passed. Not one of them. There's a doctor, Princess Di, that's running against Lindsey Graham, who is the same idea that millions of people are going to be thrown into the streets. And not one of them acknowledges that we will be spending more money on Medicaid than ever before. The idea, they're cutting it back to nothing, and millions of people are going to die, and children. And Hakeem Jeffries is not doing anything, and the Democrats are feeding into this, and they're openly saying we're going to weaponize this for 2026. So what do you think is going to happen here in 2026 midterms with this?
Well, I think that remains to be seen. I'm much more optimistic than the threats of we're going to lose, which a lot of people on our side started threatening with the Iran situation, if you recall. So we've had a lot of doom and gloom on our side. We're going to lose the midterms because Trump is going to get us into a forever war in the Mideast. And that was a word online by a lot of people. And it turned out not to be the case at all. The opposite is true. And that, they never apologized and came out and said we were wrong. And on the left, their conspiracy theorists are, as you say, deliberately fed by the leadership. And on this Alligator Alcatraz thing, you had a lot of actual elected liberals, Democrats, like AOC, crying crocodile tears on how terrible it was. But that feeds into the craziness. You have Hope Walsh, who was basically calling the people in the Trump administration literally supervillains. And then that just trickles down to the people who believe the worst of the worst, and they're all out there calling it Alligator Auschwitz. They're believing that the Republicans are feeding poor, snatched up, sometimes American citizens to the alligators. They actually believe, because of the name being a little bit amusing, that this is actually what Republicans are doing. They are releasing people who have been detained into the swamps to be eaten by alligators. And so, they've gotten themselves into a hysteria on all of the policies because they're all lies. Everything that's being said on the left about the big beautiful bill that just passed is not true. So as I had said before, we have this window of panic. Before everything kicks in of the Trump policies, we have a little bit of time before people see for themselves what is happening. And so the Democrats are taking advantage of it. They're doing what they can to gin up the emotions on their voter base, which are liable to believe anything they're told, as long as Republicans and especially Trump are made to seem bad. So frankly, this is a political advantage in their view, but I do not think it is going to carry the day with anybody who is not inclined to be a crazy leftist anyway. So I don't see how it's actually going to be determined by the midterms.
Now, you sent me the Harry Inton CNN, when we have that. You say the Gallup poll. What is Gallup saying about Democrats, Republicans, and all the rest of it?
Well, it's interesting because the headlines in the mainstream media did not reveal what CNN actually told the truth about. And here's the headline originally from Gallup: American pride slips to new low. And MSNBC headline is Americans are feeling less patriotic during Trump's second term. And if you didn't read into what the actual polling showed, you would think that this is a national problem, that people aren't feeling patriotic, people are discouraged, they're not proud of being Americans. And thankfully, CNN told the truth of what's in the poll. If you want to play that, that's very helpful.
We have it. We will play it at your command, Princess Diana. Here is the CNN report.
Today on our Independence Day, I'm looking into whether or not Americans feel proud to be an American. And as it turns out, Democrats, their percentage who say they're proud to be an American has fallen through the floor. What are we talking about? Take a look here. Democrats' pride to be an American, extremely or very proud. In 2015, look at this. 4 out of 5 Democrats were extremely or very proud to be an American. That number has plummeted to just 36% now in 2025. A low this century has fallen by more than half since 2015 as Donald Trump has become, of course, president once again this year. Now, what is driving that decline? Well, a lot of it has to do with age. What are we talking about? Well, Generation Z Democrats, proud to be an American or not. Of course, Generation Z, born since 1997. Look at this. Only 24% of Generation Z Democrats are extremely or very proud to be an American. That is actually lower, Erica. That is lower than the percentage who say they have little or no pride to be an American at 32%. I just never thought I'd see these numbers based upon where we were a decade ago, but that's exactly where we are. Now, if Democrats have extremely less pride to be an American than they used to, what about Republicans? Well, this is where the trend line gets interesting, because with Republicans, there is no trend line. In fact, take a look here. Republicans' pride to be an American, extremely or very proud. In 2015, it was 90% back when Barack Obama was serving his second term. Now in Donald Trump's second term, it's basically the same percentage, 92%. So Republicans still are extremely or very proud to be an American. Democrats, on the other hand, have seen their numbers fall through the floor, led, of course, by the youngest generation, Generation Z.
Wow. And again, what he said, what I find most interesting that is Republicans, even during the Obama years, and anybody that followed politics during those years knows that the Republican base was extremely unhappy with the presidency of Barack Obama. But yet their pride in the country remained the same.
Yes, and I think that is absolutely key. I mean, part of it is media-driven and the doom and gloom whenever there's a Republican in office. But part of it is Democrats equate the country with getting their way from the government. And Republicans just do not see the country that way, on who's the president and what administration and policies. It's a separate issue for Republicans, and that's shown by, I'm looking at the chart, it is a steady red line all the way across in the 90 percentiles. And the Democrats just fall off a cliff, depending on who's in the office. And they are never as high. But I want to give credit to Rush Limbaugh, because I think that he was a huge factor during the Obama years. I think that Republicans were already inclined to be proud of being American, but they were, as you say, discouraged. And Rush Limbaugh kept that hope and that optimism 100%. You know, people would say, thank you for keeping me sane, Rush, during these difficult years. He kept them steady as she goes on hope for the country, optimism of the country. As he always said, it is never time to panic when you're talking about America. So he would have phrases like talking about the people who make this country work, about ordinary people doing extraordinary things. And this was completely separate from whatever government policies were, you know, harming the country or difficult or obstacles. So I really want to take this time to credit Rush in large respect for helping to maintain that understanding of pride in America, our history, the legacy that was given to us through the years, and the price for freedom paid by blood and treasure. And so that, to me, is one of the explanations for why we understand that we are proud of this country, regardless of who's in office. Of course, we are much happier when freedom is let free and we are unshackled and the tax rates go down and all of those things. But so right now, our feelings of the administration are positive, but we were absolutely had pride in America, even under Obama, even under Biden.
Wow. Princess Di, stay there. We got time, for one soundbite that I want to bounce off of you when we get back. James Golden, Snerdley here, the Saturday Morning Vibe. Rolling Stones, my friend, scored their number 5 top single. Went to number 1 in 1968. Tomorrow's the anniversary of that. Jumpin' Jack Flash. Keith Richards said he and Mick Jagger wrote the lyrics to this while they were staying at Richards' country house. James Golden, Snerdley. It's the Saturday Morning Vibe. Don't go away.
The James Golden Show on the Red Apple Podcast Network. The James Golden Show. Entertaining and informative on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Princess Di, I got time for 2 quick sound bites. I'm going to play them back to back. This is after the bill passed, Speaker Johnson, and this is the one I say Democrats need to invest in diapers after I heard this.
Were you surprised, honestly, that not a single Democrat crossed the aisle to vote for either version of this bill in the Senate or in the House? Not one Democrat.
I can't believe that they didn't, but I'm not surprised. Look, this is not your father's Democratic Party. I mean, look, they've gone far woke progressive left, and they don't seem to be able to recognize they've got to turn and come back to the center. They're going further and further left. You see that with candidates that are emerging around the country and some of the actions and antics that they've done on the House floor as they did today. They don't seem to recognize that they're committing political suicide for their party. Meanwhile, Republicans are not into pageantry or performance. We are delivering results. And that's what we did today. And I tell you what, this bill is going to help every single American. It is geared for the working, hardworking middle American, middle-class people. And it's going to give them great economic relief. And we had the largest tax cuts in U.S. history that we adopted today. The Democrats voted against those tax cuts, right? We had the largest savings, largest spending reductions ever enacted by Congress. We did that today in the bill, as well as border security, national security, American energy dominance, all the priorities the president talked about on the campaign trail, and we did too, we delivered. The reconciliation bill today was a big, giant leap forward. But we're going to do this again. We're going to have a second reconciliation package in the fall and a third one in the spring of next year for the next 2 fiscal years. And we're going to have rescissions packages. The White House is sending us collections of items to claw back the spending that was wasted in fraud, waste, and abuse, and we're going to appropriate at lower levels. The Republican Party is the party to get us back to fiscal responsibility. We can't do it overnight, though, Raymond. It took us a while to get in this situation. But we are on the right track, and the president is committed to it as well.
So this is just the first one. There are going to be more bills, and then rescission bills. Your reaction to all of this?
Well, first of all, you're right. The Democrats are in for misery a year. First of all, this year will be, celebrating a whole year long, celebrating the 250th anniversary of the founding of our country. So there's going to be pageantry and patriotism, the things that they are allergic to. But the economy is going to take off. I have to mention one thing, the fact that the tax cuts are going to be made permanent. In our political observation life, James, everything good that the Republicans wanted to do had a sunset clause. They would pass something in Congress and it would be sunsetted and it would go away, which is what would have happened if this BBB had not passed. This now, no sunsetting of the tax cuts. The tax cuts are the rule of the land, ongoing, which is going to make the whole economy explode. Plus, everyone knows the name of this bill is the One Big Beautiful Bill, even though Chuck Schumer officially took the name out of the legislation and said you can't call it that, but the whole world is calling it that anyway.
Exactly the same way that they figured out that they had to embrace Obamacare after Rush named it Obamacare, and it stuck. And it stuck. And at first they resisted, and they kept saying, no, it's the Affordable Health Care Act. And now, even at one point, even they figured out and started calling it Obamacare. When they figured it was going to help them rather than hurt them, they just said, oh, okay, Obamacare. And it's still, by the way, a disaster, and we're still dealing with the impacts of it. And that's one of the reasons why some of the provisions in this big, beautiful bill had to take place, because of the way that Obama destroyed the healthcare system further. It wasn't all of his fault, but he exacerbated the problems in the healthcare system with Obamacare for sure. So
absolutely. So, to reassure your earlier caller, there are no cuts in anyone who has a disability at all on any of this. So that is preserved in the bill 100%.
And I had asked you about this, and I still have to look at it. I have to understand what's going on with the accounting, and I know it's in the weeds. The Senate did not use baseline budgeting to do it, but I don't know whether that's permanent or not. I know it's in the weeds, but we got to find out about that, because that's huge too.
Yeah, let's talk about that next time.
Okay. Princess Di, enjoy the rest of the 4th of July weekend. And one of the things...
Happy birthday, America.
Happy birthday, America. James Golden, Snerdley, ladies and gentlemen, right here, Saturday Morning Vibe. Your calls are coming up. America's Small Caffeinated Mom, Rhonda Schrock, is coming up as well. So whatever you do, keep it right here. And do not dare go away.
The James Golden Show on the Red Apple Podcast Network. The James Golden Show, entertaining and informative on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Tomorrow's his birthday. Yeah, 50 Cent in Da Club. Happy birthday, 50 Cent. One of these days this guy, this album went platinum ×6, which is unbelievably huge.
It had so many albums to compete against also at that time.
Yeah. He did it. He did a thing with this one. Curtis Jackson, 50 Cent. Born 1975. Princess Di, we said goodbye, and now I'm saying hello. Princess, I asked him to call you back. How are you? You got to hear something.
Okay.
Here it is. Speaker Johnson, right after the bill was passed, he did this too.
A previous Congress put that there in the early 60s in the height of the Cold War. There's a little visitor's guide that people get when you do tours late at night. You've probably seen your constituents and visitors and friends get the guide. If you turn, I think it's about to page 21. It explains why that's there. And it says, Congress voted to put that there as a rebuke to the Soviets' worldview at the height of the Cold War. Why? Because communism, socialism, find their root in Marxism. And Marxism begins with the belief that there is no God. It's wrong. And this Congress made us stand those many years ago, and we should do it again. We're different, we're distinct, we're exceptional, because we acknowledge that right there, our motto.
And what motto was he talking about, Princess Di?
It was "In God We Trust." I am so happy that he said that, and you could play it. Thank you so much, Sir James.
You're quite welcome. I saw it, and when he pointed, and he was saying, up there, what is above the speaker's desk? Those words. And then he talked about it there, and the first thing I thought about was, wow, Princess Di would love to see this. It was a remarkable moment.
It is literally carved in stone in the Congress, and it is something that is completely ignored by many people who go to D.C., and I am so glad it's starting to be remarked on because it is central to our future.
Absolutely. Well, there you go, and thank you for joining us again, Princess.
Anytime. Thank you, Sir James.
James Golden Snerdley, it is time, ladies and gentlemen, to head to the telephones.
James Golden, a.k.a. Bo Snerdley, presents Rapid Phones.
Eddie, you have been so patient. Thank you for waiting. What's on your mind this morning, Eddie?
My pleasure, James. Look, after President Trump signed the BBB yesterday, I'll tell you, there was no greater patriotism that I witnessed at the beach on Staten Island, going all the way to the stadium where Mr. Casamatidi owns it. And you can see the fireworks and the happiness everywhere. Second, now that we got the federal pretty much under control, we have to get rid of this Mandani character who's not even a New Yorker. What the heck does he know about the struggles we went through during the course of the civil rights? He has to be defeated soundly. 33-year-old kid, that's what he basically is. We have to either get Curtis or Mayor Adams back in there, because at least Adam will cooperate with President Trump. For governorship, we have to get Elise Stefanik to become the new governor, and look like it's been made easier. People, we have to go out and vote for our own self-interest. And I'll say that in Spanish. Tenemos que votar por nuestros intereses. We have to get this thing done. Do not give up. And yes, God bless America. God bless President Trump. And yeah, God bless Mr. Casamatidis for having this radio station so we can have a voice. Take care, James. I love you. Happy 4th of July.
Thank you so much. Appreciate the call. Let's go to Tyrone in the Bronx, New York. How are you?
Good morning, everyone. I just want you to remember, while we're celebrating the 250th anniversary next year, that there were millions of slaves in bondage while they were signing that document. Another thing
I never forget it.
Trump,
Tyrone. I never forget it. I talk about it. I talk about it on July 4th. In fact, I have talked about the fact that I don't deny what America is, and I applaud people that celebrate July 4th. I've never been one that does a full, July 4th thing, fireworks and all, because of that very reason, okay? So I talk about that. But at the same time, one has to also acknowledge that the framers and the founders of this country put in place a document that was unlike any other document the world had ever seen, one that allowed for self-correction of politics over time. And that document, because of what was in that document that was signed that day, allowed for not only slavery to be overturned in this country, but then to spread democracy and liberty throughout the world, and that had never happened. America changed the world, and we don't, for the better, and we should never, ever forget that either. Your statement after that?
I want to tell you about the 25% food was taken from the poor, and the rich were given cuts in their money they contribute.
Okay, can we just be logical for a moment? Poor people don't have the money to give to rich people. And so all this propaganda about the poor giving money to rich people, they are poor. They don't have money to give to rich people. Poor people in America don't pay taxes. If you're under the what is considered poverty, you don't pay federal taxes. So please, let's stop with these propaganda points that make absolutely no sense. They sound good. They sound like a way to foment hate and distrust against people that are doing better than other people. But there's no truth to them. It doesn't even make sense logically. The poor who don't pay taxes do not give money that they don't pay in taxes to rich people. It doesn't happen like that. Thank you for the call. I love you. Appreciate it. Clarence in Atlanta, Georgia, you're up next.
Yes. Hi, Mr. Snerdley. How you doing? Basically, it's all Messy Jesse's fault. He basically was the one who changed black people in America to African Americans. This is why we have the problem with Elon Musk and also with Mendami. Thank you.
Can I just say this? There's no problem unless people make it one. I don't care what the guy calls himself. How does it affect your life? How does it affect your life what he or anybody else calls himself?
It takes away set aside, which was specifically designed for people who experience segregation and Jim Crow. That's what the problem is, sir.
Okay. And the government is supposed to be colorblind. And so the idea that the government is setting aside something for one part of the population and not for the other is in itself a problem and shouldn't exist. Equality under the law was the objective. And also the objective of the civil rights movement before it got bastardized was that we would judge men on the content of their character, what they bring to the table, not on their skin pigmentation. I would like to see us return to that, wouldn't you?
We never were there, Bo. It was always an advantage of the white Americans versus the black Americans. So in order to be corrected, that's why they had affirmative action.
There is no corrective because it never had an end date on it. There are black Americans who do just fine, thank you, without government help. They're equal. They have brains. They think. They work. They can stand on their own 2 feet and make it. We should treat everybody with that same dignity and respect and stop trying to make people into a lower status. People have a right to be free and also to succeed, and people do have a right to fail. If they don't, even people that achieve and do well sometimes fail. This is life. And the government cannot remedy life. But it can treat people equally, and that's what this government should do. I want to give you the last word, and we got to move on.
Yes, Bo. I think that you're not looking at the historical context. You're operating in a vacuum, which is based on a bunch of false propaganda and ideology. Thank you, sir.
I would love for you to call back so we can continue this conversation. I appreciate the fact that we have a difference of opinion, but you express yourself so very well, and I'd like to continue this dialogue, okay?
Will do, sir. Have a great weekend. Happy 4th of July.
Happy 4th to you, sir. Thank you. James Golden and Snerdley, when we get back, America's Small Cat. I'm so glad you're playing this. This is for Sarita Wright, the passing of Sarita Wright. That's Sarita. Sarita, one of the greatest lyricists in the world. You can find some of her songs that she wrote with her then husband, and before that she was background singer Stevie Wonder. And then she went on her solo career to do this one. And I'll tell you what, Sarita was just brilliant. Her voice, just as beautiful as a voice could ever be. The one, the only, Sarita Wright. Her sister Yvonne, also a great lyricist too, passed away in 2004. She was only 58 years old. The beautiful, beautiful, wonderful, angelic voice of Sarita Wright. James Golden Snerdley, America's Small Caffeinated Mom, joins us when we return.
The James Golden Show on the Red Apple Podcast Network. Show. Entertaining and informative on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is time for America's Small Caffeinated Mom, our very own Rhonda Schrock. Good morning, Rhonda.
Good morning, James. This has been a bright and happy show. I'm really enjoying the music today.
Well, thank you. So, Rhonda, what is on your mind this 4th of July weekend?
Yes, what's on my mind is a single word that I saw of all things on the boxcar of a train. The other day, my husband and I were driving to work, and right now it's a beautiful drive because we just passed through the beautiful green cornfields that are growing. It's just green everywhere you look. And as we were driving along, I noticed that we had come upon a train. And for a brief moment, we were riding parallel with the train. And I noticed that the boxcar just outside my window had one word spray painted down in the bottom right-hand corner, and that word was stuck. So all week long, that word stuck has been stuck in my head. And oddly enough, as I was pondering it, meditating on it, I was at the coffee shop the other day to grab a cup of what I think of as nectar of the gods. And I ran into a friend I had not seen for a long time. And as we were just chatting for a few brief moments in line, she said this to me: I feel stuck. I don't know why I'm stuck again. I know what I need to do, but I just haven't done it yet. So it just struck me again that all of us, every human being alive, has been in that place where we just feel stuck. And every human being alive will be there again at some point in life. I thought about all the ways that you can feel stuck. Vocationally, certainly, you can feel stuck in your job. Emotionally, you can get stuck emotionally. Relationally, you can feel very much stuck. And of course, spiritually, you can feel like you are stuck and aren't moving forward and don't know how to move forward, actually. So I know what it feels like to be stuck vocationally. And I also have grown sons and a husband, and I have watched almost all of them as they have moved into adulthood encounter periods vocationally where they are stuck. You know, sometimes you're working for a person who's extremely unpleasant, or the job is just dead end. There's no real advancement. It's boring. It's monotony. I have had two sons working for tree service companies where they would come home with poison ivy all summer. They're just cutting trees, clearing power lines, and it's miserable in this heat and humidity. You long for a job that matches your hopes and dreams, where you feel like you're advancing and going somewhere, but you cannot see a way out. It's difficult to be stuck vocationally. The woman I was talking to was feeling stuck relationally. When important relationships start floundering, when the fault lines start to appear, and this happens to all of us, you scramble and you work real hard trying to repair. You want to connect. You want to fix this problem. And the closer the person is to you, the more desperately you work. But as time goes by and the situation does not improve and continues to deteriorate, you start to despair. And eventually, if the relationship fails, people can become immobilized, unable to move past what they just went through. Other people get stuck emotionally. You can get caught in a mental loop, replaying your failures, replaying what went wrong, replaying what happened, replaying all the ways in which this is an impossible situation, gaming out all the worst-case scenarios. I know how to do that really well. I am a professional-grade looper if I don't watch it. I can be a super looper, and it is hard when you get stuck in an emotional loop. At times, you feel stuck spiritually. And I have had those seasons where it seemed like every prayer I prayed hit a brass sky and bounced right back down onto the ground. And I questioned so many things about my faith and about God and about my own self. I know what it is to be stuck spiritually. I thought how one of the biggest things that keeps us stuck is fear. When we are wanting something more vocationally, when you have a dream burning inside you, the voice of fear starts shouting, and it starts to say things like, but what if you fail? What if you're rejected? What What good is it to try? Because what if you can't do it? If this is you, this is what I want to say to you. What if you don't? What if you don't fail? What if you aren't rejected? What if it goes great? And what if immense good comes from you trying? What if that? My favorite prayer when I am unsure about direction and guidance, or when somebody close to me is unsure, this is my favorite prayer. Close every door except the right one. Only open the right door. Yes. And then I feel great confidence when a door opens up. The other point I want to make is that how can a door open if you never knock? If there's a door, what can it hurt to knock on it? Because sometimes that door of opportunity will swing wide open. I do know that many times in my life, opportunities and things have happened by sheer providence. I didn't know there was a door to knock. A door just suddenly was there, and I was just walking, living my normal life, and all of a sudden, something amazing was happening. James, the way you and I became friends has a story of providence behind it, and I'm not sure I've ever told you that little backstory, but it's hugely important, and it blows me away when I think about it. So providence, it marks all of our lives if we have the eyes to see the hand of providence moving. To the poor, suffering soul, like my friend who is stuck relationally, I offer my compassion. It is so hard to know when to stay. It's hard to know when to leave. Because if you leave too soon, you can do a great amount of damage. But if you stay too long, you can also suffer great damage. So we can become hostage. This is what I know. When a relationship fails and we insist that we must have an apology, there must be some kind of repair or closure, and it never comes, then we are the ones who are hostage. And if we can open those clenched fists and let go of those demands, as unjust and unfair and hard as it is, it will set us free, and we can begin to move out of that stuck condition. For the super loopers who are caught emotionally, sometimes actually just getting up and moving your body can help your poor, suffering brain break out of that loop. For me, talking to a very close friend, a wise counselor, seeking somebody with wisdom, or just a listening ear, it can help me break those emotional loops. If you are caught in a loop like that, don't pour contempt on yourself for the fact that you struggle. Offer yourself the same compassion that you would to a friend or someone you love who is struggling and is coming to you. Offer yourself that compassion, because you are as worthy and deserving of that compassion as anyone else that you know and love. Contempt will always harm you, and compassion will help you begin to heal. If you are stuck spiritually, your faith, I want you to know this is so important to God. He will never leave you. He may be silent, but he's never absent. Stuck is not a forever condition. You can move forward.
Amen to that. Rhonda, where can people find your essay?
It's on thedailybs.com, which is your website.
And they can find you where?
RhondaSchrock.com, SCHROCK.
Thank you, Rhonda. So appreciate it. Ladies and gentlemen, we had a big dose of inspiration there. I want to leave you with a memory today. You all remember the show. Many of you do. Everybody Loves Raymond. Patricia Heaton was the wife. She made a post yesterday, and I want to play it for you as we leave today. Here it is.
So I grew up in a wonderful, idyllic little town called Bay Village on the west side of Cleveland, right on Lake Erie. It really was like Mayberry. And every 4th of July, they had a carnival come in and park in Cahoon Park. And we could ride our bikes over there and get funnel cakes and lose all our money trying to win crappy stuffed animals. And it was idyllic. It was so much fun to years later be able to bring my kids that many years later to stay in Bay Day, and they got to go through the same thing. And the one thing that blew my kids' minds was the fact that people could just leave their bikes in their front yards and nobody would take them. Like they'd walk around and they'd say, Mom, everybody rides their bikes, and then they just leave them in their yards and nobody steals them. Hot in Bay Village in the 70s and even today.
America today still exists. May God bless, protect each and every single one of you, your families, your loved ones. Love and gratitude for your being here, allowing me to be with you. Until next time, I bid you adieu. Bye.
Thanks for listening to The James Golden Show. You can hear The James Golden Show Saturday mornings at 7. If you like the podcast, share it with your friends and listen anytime at WABCRadio.com and download the WABC Radio app. Hit that subscribe button on all major podcast platforms. Plus, follow WABC on social on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and X. See you next time for a new episode so you never have to wonder.
What the heck is going on here?
77 WABC invites you to a family fun day and softball showdown on July 20th with net proceeds benefiting Shriners Children's. John Sterling will call the game as the FDNY takes on the NYPD with special guests Dwight Gooden, Art Shamsky, 77 WABC hosts including Sid Rosenberg, Anthony Cumia, Lionel, Dominic Carter, and many more. For more info and to buy tickets, go to ShrinersChildren'sChampions.org. That's ShrinersChildren'sChampions.org.